All right, so we've been going over Mochi's and Mark Olson's masterclass. We're on the second chapter of which is written by Mark Olson, called Game Plan Dynamics. And we've been going over some positions. We've sort of gone past what's in the book. Yeah, it seemed to me that you need to look at a lot of these and sort of figure out what's going on. Understanding your game plan and your opponent's game plan are key features, key things to understand, and they're not always clear, and sometimes it's deceiving. But you can only do it by a lot of practice. So we'll do some more practice. We'll do another session today, and then one next time. And then we'll go into some things that aren't in his book as well, but things like how to actually play things like a blitz or a holding game, or what he calls contact, as well as some priming issues. So we have on the screen a position, and we have double fives. So what should we do with double fives?
Well, first of all, see whether we're ahead or behind in the race.
Yep.
After we play, we're probably ahead because it's 20 pips. And, well, we're hugely ahead. So on that criterion, I'd definitely be bringing out the back three. And I'd probably play 13-8, but it could be 8-3.
Yeah.
I vote 8-3.
8-3, yeah. So I mean, the key thing, this is kind of should be easy, I think, for most everyone now. Is you're ahead in the race, you've got a big roll, you can move up your back anchor, and that's the right thing to do. And so this is 13-8 or 8-3. It doesn't really matter here. Even this one, actually, this is a blunder to do this, but I don't think anyone would do that. But anything that doesn't bring
Can you
up,
bump up those top two?
I'm sorry.
Can you bump up those top two to plus level?
Yeah. Yeah. So they're it's a tie basically.
Yeah.
But anything that doesn't bring up all three, well, except for this one, is that one bring up all three. But any of the other places don't bring up all three is a blunder. And this is a pretty simple situation. You're ahead in the race, and you race, and you have a great number that puts you farther ahead in the race. You can help extract the back anchor. And we'll get into this a little bit later. When do you break your anchor is kind of a key issue when you have this kind of holding game. So when you're up in the race and get big doubles, that's a good time. Okay, that was easy. What about this one?
Say this one's easy too. We're a lot farther behind.
Yeah, what does that tell us to do?
Well, most people hate burying, but I'm going to go with 13-8 to 3 and 6-1.
1, 2. How about 20-5?
Yeah. Twenty to 5 is 3, and then one more to play.
Yeah, take your pick at that point. Same way.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. So, but I think the key thing is that before we were way up in the race, and so it should be easy to you race. So you clear your back anchor and or move up your back anchor and then use the other 5. Here, we're way behind in the race. Even after the race, we're down 7, so we're behind after our big roll. So we're not going to break, we're not going to break that anchor. Now, I guess maybe you could go up to the 15. But and that's not great, but the answer is you don't break the anchor. So this is what I was thinking of. This is a blunder, but it's not terrible. But the idea is, keep the backing. Our game plan here is no longer racing because we're not ahead in the race. So if you're ahead in the race, you race. If you're not ahead in the race, don't race. But so let's stay back, and it doesn't really matter. 20 to 5 is the best one because you have the spare, you might as well bring it around. Making the 3 is fine, or just coming down with another is fine. Making anchors or making points behind your opponent's anchor. It's not terrible, but it's not imperative either. Not unless he's about to run, and black isn't about to run. So again, but the 20 to 5 is the key. This is just, you still have kind of a back game or a back anchor here, but it's not the right idea. You're better off staying back and looking for the shot. Okay, 2 easy ones. We'll get into some harder ones. So, what do we say about this one?
I would immediately hit with on the 21 point. That helps hugely in the race, and probably come out, I think. 21, 24, 21, 16.
Yeah.
The other choice is hitting twice.
Yeah, 24, 21, 8-3.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or 6-1.
I was thinking 8-3. Yeah.
Yeah. Now what? Yeah, that's a good. And now why 8-3 over 6-1?
Well, 8-3 prevents them from anchoring on 3.
Right.
Seems like the key question is whether hitting is better than pointing on the 3, but I agree with Raymond that hitting and keeping him from making the 21 or his 4.
Yeah.
Pretty critical.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's true. But we also point on 3. And if we did the double hit, we risk getting hit again.
Right.
But yeah, if we hit here, we can't make that point. Black really would like to make this point. And we would really not like black to not make that point. So, but here there's just a lot of good plays. Pointing normally, if you can hit and point on your inner board, that's a pretty strong play. So 8-3 is a strong play. The question is it better than hitting back here and doing something else? And now hopefully everyone knows that making the ace point or hitting loose on the ace point is not preferred here.
Well, the other question is what
Someone drew a circle on my board.
You can see that.
The
I'll try
nerve.
to how to erase it.
Did you do that, Jeff?
There's a new feature in Zoom.
Yeah.
Apparently you can draw on the screen, and I didn't think I was sharing. I assumed that it was just for me because I wasn't sharing my screen or anything. So sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I was not aware of that feature. Yeah, so there are a lot of good plays here. The kind of and the real question is what's your game plan? We're behind in the race, so yeah, hitting, but there's so much going on, it's hard to tell with that. But what that tells you, but clearly, black has 10 in the zone. He's looking at a priming game plan or even an attacking. Hitting that 3 gets you evens out the race pretty much, prevents him from making that point. That's got to be the first thing to do. And then what do you do with the 5? And so Ray suggested coming out. That's kind of tempting. You know, again, you're back in the race, so you might as well extract the back checker. The double hit is also tempting. You know, whenever you can double hit, that's good. And even though you're leaving a blot, you're sort of risking it a little bit. But you know, you don't have there are 11 shots that come in and hit. And that, you know, that wouldn't be good. But on the other hand, we've got, you know, a couple of covers here to hit. And then if we can't cover, we can maybe step up to hit off the ace point or something like that. So that's pretty strong. Let's look at the answer. And this answer is a little bit surprising to me. Not this. This makes sense. And in fact, in general, you know, if you hit from the back and then you can hit loose in the front with a spare and not give up a point, that's usually a very strong play. So this doesn't surprise me that this is best. What surprised me, and it doesn't surprise me that the top plays all involve hitting back here, hitting and off the plot on the 4 point, because again, you know, that is, you go back to, you know, Michi's, you know, fight for the strong point. Yeah, we really don't want Black to make this point. That's a really strong board if he does, and he's got a lot of spares to do it. So we you know, that's the primary thing. And the what's surprising to me is that coming out, which was Ray's kind of first suggestion, is a blunder.
Yeah.
The right play, if you're not going to hit 2, is this one, where we come out, slot the bar point, and to inside. Any idea why that's a better play than coming out?
Fours otherwise don't play well.
Yeah, that's part of it. I mean, you got 4s. You know, you're giving Black a good 4. And 4 coming in, you know, double 4s coming in is 4 is not a good number for him coming in because it's blocked. So if he gets something in a 4, he's got to use the something else to come in and the 4 to play, and there's no good floor.
Doesn't it also give you return shots? If he hits loose on the bar?
Yeah, well, Black, and that's one of the things that surprised me. It does give return shots. It gives Black good 1s, and well, he has 1s to hit off the 3, good 1s and good 6s. And not only that, they are, you know, by hitting off the bar, there are fewer return shots than say hitting loose off either hitting loose off the 4 or the 2.
You know, I didn't see going to the bar, but you know, you pretty desperately want an advanced anchor, so
Yeah,
this gives you the chance to either make the 21 or the 18.
yeah. I think that's it. Actually, now thinking about it, if you look at after the play, yeah, Black can come in and could hit from off the bar here, or even with an ace here or 2. But if he does that, there are a lot of return shots, more than usual, because you're coming in and you can either, if Black hits with there, you can either make the anchor or you hit loose. And there are just a lot of return shots that make the advanced anchor.
But aren't you giving Black a good 6?
Yeah, you are giving Black a good 6, although this 6 isn't bad here, 3 to 9. And I think, but yeah, it's, you know, it's a good 6 that you know, you have a shot. But there again, there are so many return shots here. Any number coming in with a 3 or a 5 hits, and then a 7, a 1, 6 hits. So and then you have the 4 numbers. I didn't count them, but that's like 10 or 12 good numbers, probably, or more.
And any 4.
Yes, and any yes, and well, any 4 makes the anchor, makes the 4-point anchor. So, and that's a good roll, even if you don't hit. And so, and you've already put Black with 3 checkers back. And so he's got a lot, he's got a lot to worry about in extracting those checkers. And we now have an anchor, and now we have a place to work off of. And black has a lot of, has a lot of checkers to clear out and to clean up. So, but I was surprised by that. I think I would probably make this move. And in general, if you hit 2, put 2 on the bar, it's usually a good idea. And in this case, we have the spares to cover. And
I think I think also the kicker here is to keep them from anchoring, because if they anchor on the 3, not a particularly good anchor, but what it does is it wastes a third. That third guy on the 4 point can't be used for anything useful. So when you anchor in front of a stack, you're basically wasting the dilly builders. You're creating extra.
Yeah.
Something I've never seen mentioned, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That was a good one. Not so easy. Let's look at the next one.
Black roll 6-3.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, long term, you're better off with the 5 point. Short term, you're better off running while ahead. I think the 5 point's the long term asset, and I would forego the safe run here in order to make the 5 point.
Yeah. Anyone disagree with that?
Well, I think I would run just on the racing criteria.
Yeah.
Plenty of chances to make the 6 point
33 plus 9, 42 pip lead.
Yeah.
He's only got 2, 4, 5 shots on that 11 point.
Yeah.
I mean, take your point, take your 1 free point.
Yeah.
When I've played XG, anytime I had an opportunity to make my 5 point and didn't was an error every single time.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah, I think it's long term asset versus what looks sweet right away.
Yeah. Well, this is a tough one because those are good points. And one of the things, if you don't, that David Presser always reinforced for me is if you don't make your 5 point, you better do 2 or 3 good things. Otherwise, and they better be pretty good. So here you can run out. Yes, you safety that checker. And so that's one good thing. And the question is, is there more than that? And the answer is, well, not much. And actually making the 5 point here, and this surprised me too, because I would be tempted to run out too, but making the 5 running out is a blunder compared to making the 5 point. So in terms of the game plan, it's very tempting, and this is where it can be misleading with when you're looking at race, because we're so up in the race. It seems like if you're in the race, you race, and we're way ahead in the race, and we can escape it back checker. That looks like a really good thing to do, and it is a pretty good thing to do. You're way up. You're very much favored to win with that 66%, but it's not the best thing to do. And the key to this thing is recognizing that black doesn't have much going on there to stop you from escaping that back checker, but we haven't got much going on here yet to prevent black from hitting us loose or escaping his checker or making this anchor the 3 point anchor, or the 5 point or the bar point anchor either. So Stuart, I think, said it pretty well, is that over the long term, over the next couple of rolls, getting this anchor, or I'm sorry, making the 5 point gives us a lot to work with. We now have, the start of we have a broken 5 prime, I guess. We have the start of a prime. We have landing points to come in as we bring our checkers around. And so that's, that's the kind of thing you have to see and recognize, because here the race tells you to race, and it's the completely wrong move. So yeah, we've got more than just a racing game plan here. We've got priming, we've got actually potentially attacking. Once we make the 5 point, we'll have a much stronger board. Again, not an easy play to see, and it is very, very tempting to run out. And you would be, those of you who did it will be surprised at how big of a blunder it was.
Hmm.
All right, another tricky one.
What? They changed the board?
No, yeah, it's a new problem.
This new problem.
All right, so
Yeah, no
play
problem.
A is the defensive bar. Play B is the offensive bar. And I think when you're playing, so against a single checker, you really want to flood the zone, right? So that might lead you to make the 4 prime. The only trouble is the 4, 7, 10, 12 checkers on the other side of the board. I think here I'd lock up the stability of the back anchor and let them come to me.
Mhm. Any other ideas on that?
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at a number of things.
You could hit him on the 1.
Yeah, you could do that. Well, okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. But one thing that's helpful here is look at what's Black's game plan.
Attack there. Escape
Yeah.
1 and attack otherwise.
Attack. He's got 12 checkers in the zone. He's got these big stacks here, and lots of spares. So that's an attacking game plan. What can you do against an attacking game plan?
Anchor.
You can anchor. Yeah, you really defeat Black's game plan. Now, Black is also way ahead in the race, so that makes this a little bit tricky. But you have to recognize that this isn't a racing play. This is an anchoring play, and it defeats Black's best game plan, which is attacking. And again, he's heavily stacked here in the 4 point. These checkers have no place to go other than to drop off and to making a D point, and they're kind of out of the game for a while. And we're well positioned to contain Black. That doesn't necessarily mean that we will. 6-5 kind of loses it for us, but we have the midpoint. We have a couple points. This is the 11 point is usually a good point if you have a single checker back to defend against, because if Black just comes out with a 6 something, which is what he'll probably do, you have a double shot to hit him back. So
Your idea is the best.
yeah. So looking at, it is making, and actually anything else is under here.
Anchor.
Making the prime is not right. One other point too is that it's very difficult to prime a back checker. Sometimes that's the best thing because there's no other choice. But we're priming against a single checker is not that great of a strategy. Sometimes it's the only strategy. But when you have an alternative, it's usually better to do the alternative than to try to prime a single checker. So there's a kind of rule of thumb.
I would say, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So 2 checkers back, you want to prime. 1 checker back, you want to attack.
So one thing which is good about making the offensive bar is that it probably forces Black to step up a bit where you can attack him better.
True. True. Yeah, I mean, if black hits a stray, 2 or 3 or 1 or even, or 2 or 3, he's going to try to step up so that he can hop out. Because now you have, I mean, it's not a terrible, an unproductive play because you are blocking the 6s. That's always a good thing to do, but it's just not, it's not that hard for black to escape from here. Yeah, and in the meantime, you're sitting there playing against a blitzing structure, and you've got 2 loose blots. So you're kind of a sitting duck here for some constructive plays for black. Okay. Slightly different situation here. Now what do we do?
We either make the 4 point or we make the bar point and probably come out and move one of the back checkers with the 4.
Well, now he's got 2 backs, so I like the priming game, meaning I really like making our 7 point. And
Yeah,
and the 4 I step up. I'm not sure whether I think I probably step up to 20 as opposed to stepping up to 18, but my play is 7 and 20.
That's probably right, but I lean toward making the 4 point.
Yeah.
Just because he's on the bar. And if he doesn't get the 7 or the 6, then we've got a good chance to make the 7 and have 2 of his checkers behind a 5 prime.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that. I
Yeah.
mean,
At
I
our
see
7
it.
point.
Yeah. So we got 2 strategies going here. We can prime by making the bar point. We can also, but making the 4 point is also both an attacking and a priming move, because we'll get to this later, but when you have a prime, you want to extend the prime by making the points, the next point in order, preferably, or sometimes making the point from behind. But here we can make the point right ahead. So that's a strong move. What about coming out and making the defensive bar point in this situation?
I think you made the 4 point.
I think it's less important. That's all. It's not that it's not a bad thing. It's just
Yeah.
less important.
Yeah, it's not the right strategy here. Black's on the bar. When your opponent's on the bar, it's time to be aggressive, more aggressive, make interboard points, hit more, that sort of thing. Making the bar point here is a very passive play, and you have a chance to make something strong. Even So well, let's take a look at what the answer is. So here, making the 4 point is a little bit better. Let's look at these 3. Yeah, so making the 4 point is better. If your opponent's on the bar, make the inner point. That's usually going to be better. I mean, the risk here is a 1 6 2 6 3 6, 3 4 5. There are a lot of numbers that come back and hit, but we have return shots with a 6 from the bar on those. And we can also anchor and do other things. But here the riskier play, it's not the DMP play. It's not the safest play here because we can get hit, but it gives the most gammons.
Okay.
And it's a pretty strong play as it is.
Photos.
Now I think this was Stewart's play. So here's another one where it makes a big difference. If you want to make that prime, that's a strong play too. But what do you do with the 4? I might as well put this one here too. So there are 3 options that makes sense. You can come up to the 5, come up to the bar, or in from the 10. Since coming in with the 10, it gives you an extra spare in the 6, and you know, you're actually losing coverage for the 4, or losing a spare for the 4. That should be probably ruled out. Coming up, you know, why is coming up to the 5-point better than coming up the bar?
Coming to the bar gives black a 6.
Yeah, it
Well,
gives black
is
a
it
good
something-
6.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got the return shots, but you know, this.
I would do it at a 5. I mean, good.
That's what I was going to.
Yeah, if you come up to the 5, and black hits you from there, you've got direct return shots immediately from there. So I think that's more of the reason for it. And then it also duplicates aces and 3s, so you know, it doesn't give black the good 6. Yeah, and I'm not sure which is more important there, but you know, the good 6 for black. Maybe, yeah, I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure which one. But yeah, again, what if, you know, black comes in with a, I guess it's only an ace or a deuce and a 6. If he comes into the 3, 6, 4, 6, he's going to run out. So, yeah, I'm not sure which one of those is the matter, but you know, I would say that, you know, if your opponent's on the bar, make the point and attack and be aggressive. Even if you get hit back, then you still at least have the 3-point board. That's a pretty strong, you know, that's a strong board to have. That will come in handy. You're going to switch the game plan probably to more of a hitting game. But if you do hit, you're in good shape. Okay.
So the moral of the story is always go with Karen's play.
I was gonna say, she's acing this quiz so far.
Yeah, it's not a bad rule of thumb.
Make the 4-point.
Make it 4 point. Okay.
So
Hit or make the point.
Now I hit.
Hit. I hit.
hit, okay.
There's over 14 return shots. 21 return shots.
21. Okay, we have the 3, yeah.
I don't know.
So what are the options? Well, hit, obviously one option. Making the bar point, I guess, would be the other option. Okay, and so anyone with a stronger feeling?
Yeah, I hit.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know, that bar point's awful strong.
Okay, well, let's look at it. This is another case where hitting is right and the bar making the bar points wrong. And part of it again is okay, we're back in the race here once we do this, once we hit. We're down 3, so the race is basically even. At least for now. Jeff pointed out, I think that, yeah, there are a lot of return shots, but we've evened it out for now. But also keep in mind too, and this, you know, I mentioned this earlier, it's very difficult to prime this back checker, a single checker, even with the 4 prime. So putting 2 checkers back makes it much more difficult for black to escape his back checkers. And if black comes in and doesn't hit here, but hits there, you know, we can still have a chance to cover and make that 4 prime against 2 back checkers. If black does come in and hit there, we still have a chance to come in and hit black again, putting the 2 checkers back. You know, it could be, it could go wrong, but you've got to give yourself the chance. Another thing too to keep in mind is that we have the stronger board, even though we have it's 5-point instead of the 4-point. That's usually an indication to play boldly. Again, the bold safe criteria that McGrill came up with. So, you know, hitting the checker here it's a bold play, but it's justified because, well, we're behind in play the race. We might as well play bold. We have the better board. We might as well play bold. We have, well, you know, we have a potential for a prime there, so we could turn the red game around pretty quickly if black doesn't roll well coming in.
What would be the correct play if black already had a second checker back? So the black checker on the 19 was on the 1. Would that switch it round?
Like that?
What would be the correct play now?
Yeah, that's an interesting play. So here the race is even. We have basically, well, even after a roll, we're up 2, which is basically even.
But we're priming 2 checkers now, so I just wonder.
Yeah, now we're priming 2. So that, yeah, that argument that
Interesting
you don't
to
want to prime, you don't want to try to prime a single checker. It is not that good anymore. I'm not sure. I don't know if well, what would we do here? Anyone have any idea? Do we still hit? Or do we make the prime?
I think here I switch and make the prime.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot closer. I think it's still to hit. But let's see. I think I would hit here still. No, well, okay, now it's even.
Now, either become.
Yeah.
Yeah, real even.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And 11-10 is the preferred.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Okay. Why is that? Any idea?
Gives you more priming options, but making the rear of the prime.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here we're kind of committing to the priming option. Not completely. If we get a shot, we'll hit it. Another one. But yeah, we're priming. And so now we can either we want to extend the prime. We can either now we have a checker here that makes the 4. So a 6-2 covers, but we have a 4, or we have a 2-1 that makes the back of the prime. And then a 4-1, 4-2 also makes the back of the prime. So, you know, we've enhanced our chances of extending our prime. And if we're going to prime, you know, it's a 4 prime, which is good, but a 5 prime is better. You know, we're going to prime, we want to extend the prime. And so this would be the preferred play. But, you know, again, it's not that much. It's here, you know, this one is basically the same. And all we did is go 6 to 5. So we don't give up the joker, the 3-6 joker doing that. So, okay.
Which plays pretty well on the other side anyway, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's make this the last one for the night.
Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting, actually. One plan is run, right? But if you run, it looks real close without counting. In fact, I think white's a little behind by a visual. And the other play, of course, is make the bar point. So I'd have to get it. I mean, I'd really want a little better count after the roll. Where are we after 6-4 plays out to 14?
Well, we're down 9 now. So after if we run out, we're down 1. I'm sorry, after running, well, after the roll, we're up 1. So.
And it gives you, the other thing which is nice about coming out is if it's not hit, it gives you enhanced coverage over the outfield for that one roll where you may then prime, then make the 7 point. So if the race is that close, I'd probably take a hop and go to 14.
Yeah. So we have vote for anyone who want to prime?
Oh,
Yes,
on the
me.
on the bar, the 7, yes,
Yeah,
you
we
betcha.
can make the prime.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Yeah, in this case, the prime is right.
Okay, I give up.
It's this one is tricky because I think it has to do with the race. Because here, you know, we're we're up in the race by 1, but that's not a lot. That's not a lead. We get the 2 and we're way down in the race. If black gets the 2. This does sort of contradict what I have been saying about, okay, don't try to prime a single checker. But in this case, it turns out to be the better play. I think let's look and see if we were up more in the race like that. So now we're up 7 after the roll, and it's still good to prime, but now it's a lot closer. And this is still not close. Let's go with 2 checkers back. Now we're way up in the race. But now we got 2 checkers to prime.
Yeah,
So,
different problem.
yeah.
I'm surprised it's that big a difference, frankly.
Yeah.
Just because I see so many, yes, you don't want to get hit with a 2, but I love playing 15 guys against the 1 straggler.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it's the fact that you might get hit. Now, if we had a look at a 6-5. That's not quite the same play. But then it's coming out. Although this is a close play too. But in this, in this case, coming out with the 6-5, we're playing to safety for that, and that's probably a big deal. Well, it is a big deal.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
that's it for this time. Let's see, we got to checker 10. Let me turn off the recording.